Welcome to Calming the Chaos, where I help you find peace in a chaotic world. I'm Tracy Canella, licensed mental health counselor who talks about chaos from a mental health perspective. And I give you self-help resources you can use to calm your chaos in any situation in this world. Isn't this fun? It's not a substitute for counseling or psychotherapy, but just a lot of helpful hints and tools. So if you're on board, feel free to tune in. And now, let the chaos begin. Well, it is May of 2025, and here I am back and ready to give you some information about May being Mental Health Awareness Month. And so when we talk about mental health awareness, it is us being aware of some of the mental health conditions that can affect our functioning in our lives. And sometimes they are very painful emotional issues, such as anxiety, depression. Some people struggle with trauma, PTSD, others struggle with eating disorders, but they are situational and random, and sometimes they hurt even more than physical health conditions. So the point of a Mental Health Awareness Month is to increase awareness and well-being for people who struggle with mental and emotional issues, such as the ones I just named. And to take it a step further, they are now wanting to turn awareness into action, which is they would like us to seek resources for help. So some people are aware of mental health conditions, but they don't seek resources for help. So this is why we want to take it to the next level, seeking resources. So I've got a couple of resources for you. But before that, I want to talk about how do you know if you have a mental health condition? Now, National Association of Mental Illness, or NAMI, they have a wonderful website, and part of it has to do with definitions of mental health conditions, such as anxiety, depression, trauma, post-traumatic stress, eating disorders, ADHD, all of those things that could affect your major life domains, which are you got your physical health, you got your mental and emotional health, you've got your relationships, you've got your school and work domains and social. You've got all of those sorts of places in your life where your emotional and mental functioning actually could be affected. So if you are thinking that you might have a dysfunction in any of those areas of your life, you may want to get an assessment from a qualified licensed mental health counselor, such as myself. So as I've said, there are some free resources online, and just a few of them that are my favorites: National Association for Mental Illness, or NAMI, and then SAMHSA, which is Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and then NEDA, which is National Eating Disorders Association, which is strictly for eating disorders. They have a ton of resources for people who are struggling and also their friends and family members. And finally, my own podcast, Calming the Chaos. The reason I started this podcast was to help people who were struggling with mental and emotional issues, specifically anxiety, panic, overwhelm, anything that happens within chaos. And you can even say that depression, post-traumatic stress, they all cause chaos, which is in your mind. Everything is just sort of out there and not really grounded, just sort of wandering, untethered, and sudden, unexpected, and a mass confusion. So that's really what chaos is. And many people experience that on the daily. So when I put forth this Calming the Chaos podcast originally, I did it with the intention of giving examples from my own life where I have struggled with chaos and how I've been able to overcome it. And then gradually it developed into me interviewing people and then doing silly videos. And I have no idea where it's going next. But if you want to check out some of my older episodes, I can put some links below about the basics of chaos and calming the chaos. So, in the spirit of OG, I am going to go ahead and tell you how April of 2025 just kicked my ass and tell you how I managed it, just in the spirit of that. And you can take what you will from what I have to say. But yeah, you may have noticed that I have not been doing any videos during the month of April, and that is because from April 1st to April 30th, it seemed like every day of that month I got socked and hit with something that I had to figure out, something that I had to deal with, taxes. I had some unexplained back pain that kind of laid me up, and I had to cancel a bunch of appointments. I had a cat that started not eating a whole lot, and that was upsetting to me. I moved offices from my office next door to here, and I'm subletting the other office out. And so I had to move a bunch of stuff, got all sweaty moving my own stuff in my own little Toyota car. More taxes, emails, people wanting help, world stuff. Like I would listen to the news on YouTube and think like, oh my gosh, what's going on with the stock market? What's going to happen to my money? And until the end of the month when property taxes were due. And I was just like, let May come and then I will be better. And today is May the 18th. And I am a lot better because I'm making this video. I have not felt like making a video in quite a while. So when I think back to April, I didn't even mention this, I turned 60. So that was a big milestone as well. So anyway, it's May now and I'm going forward and I hope you are too. I'm going to tell you how I survived the month of April and I'm going forward in the month of May. And how I've really managed is just knowing how burnt out you can get on your life when there's so much going on and you are there in your life and you just don't have the resources within yourself to just cope with it all. So what happens generally is that when you have your stressors being at this level and your resources for coping at this level, you do have some chaos going on, and it's hard. And so what you need to do in a situation where you have so many stressors and so little resources, there are a couple of things. One, you do need to figure out if there are any resources or people or friends or family members who can help you. So then here are the stressors and here are the resources. So the resources go up to meet the stressors, right? The other thing is that if the stressors are here and the resources are here, then you'll want to reduce the stressors so that you can actually have the manageable level of stressors. And how you can do that is mainly why I developed this podcast. What I'd like to say is I have a couple of different skills for you, and two of them are breathing skills, and then we've got the five senses. So let's go with that. And then I also have a new acronym that I developed not too long ago that is a SMART, SMART acronym that I'm going to teach you right now before we go. Okay, so the first breathing exercise that I really like to do is called the 8-second cool down. The 8-second cool down is very simple, and you do it when you are in a state of panic. So you don't want to do this as a preventative measure. You want to do this as a triage method of when you are panicking or when you actually feel the physiological sensations of anxiety, overwhelm, depression. You're going to want to use this. And so you notice the physiological, like maybe rapid heartbeat, shallow breathing, sweating, flushing of the cheeks, rapid eye movement. You're going to want to notice that, and then you're going to want to take a breath. As much air as your lungs will hold it for 8 seconds, count really slowly, and then release it either quickly or you can release it really slowly, just as slowly as you can. The other method of breathing that I really like is called square breathing or box breathing. And that is a really effective method of dealing with people who are intense and getting in your face, or maybe somebody's upsetting you, but you want to hear what they're saying, but they're also really upsetting you emotionally. Box breathing, square breathing can really help you with that. And so essentially it is slow 4 count, 1, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 4 slow count, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. And then 4 slow count, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale. And then another 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. And doing that over and over again, just like the 8 second cool down will get oxygen to your brain, but it'll also distract you because you're counting. And it'll give you some distance, emotional distance from the person or the situation that you're dealing with. So both the techniques are wonderful. And so then we've got the 5 senses, self-soothing. And this is great because I'll tell you what, the best cure for any kind of emotional and mental distress is being able to take care of yourself. And taking care of yourself with the 5 senses is what I really like to go to. So there's sight. I am actually looking out upon a beautiful water inlet right here. Not everybody is as privileged as I am to be able to do that, but there's maybe a tree you can look at, or pictures that you can look at either online, or pictures that you have in your photo albums or on your phone. Pictures, any kind of visual sort of self-soothing is great. And then there's hearing, which I like to think is of music or sounds, ambient noise, or any kind of thing that you find pleasurable. I know I love listening to my cat Louie purr, and that is actually a really soothing sound for me. So that's hearing. A taste. So one of the main things I really like about the taste is that, brushing your teeth or putting a mint in your mouth and drinking some ice cold water really helps you to shift your mind around. There's all kinds of other things that you can do with taste as well, but you just got to be careful because sometimes you can kind of depend on that palate to soothe yourself, and then it might lead into food or eating related issues. So just be really careful with taste. Touch is really great. I do this thing with my hair because my hair is really soft, and I like to kind of just like do this sort of thing. Or if I had a fuzzy sweater on, I would do this. Just even gripping your hands together. I do this thing with my legs too. Anything that has to do with tactile or touch is really nice. Hot and cold really help as well, like a little heat on your belly or a little cold on the back of your neck really does help with the touch. And finally, but I think I probably should have mentioned this first, is the sense of smell. Sense of smell is probably the best way to ground yourself. Have you ever gone into a restaurant and smelled something and it just reminded you of like grandma's home cooking or something like that? And so it doesn't have to just be that. It can be essential oils that you can use, or any kind of mixture of scent. Pine needles. I really like the smell of pine needles. So you want to look at your lavenders for calming, and some other like oranges and lemon flavors for actually if you're depressed and want to be a little bit more activated. So those are the 5 senses. So how I got through April, here is the SMART, SMART method I just developed. So S is stay present. Stay present and move slowly. So when you're overwhelmed, you don't want to move quick. You want to make slow, deliberate movements forward. You want to move slowly. You want to stay present. You want to stay in the moment. You want to notice when your mind goes to the future and says, oh my gosh, I've got all these things happening in the month of April and I'm not even sure I can do it. You want to notice that and draw it back to, okay, what do I need to do today? So stay present. M is manage emotions. And we just talked about how to do that. Through the physical body, you're able to calm your chaos of your body so that your mind can think of better solutions and make choices and decisions that are going to benefit you. So manage your emotions. And then A is assess each situation individually. You know, life is not a cookie cutter approach. You have to figure out decisions and solutions, and you have to make choices with everything that you do. And each situation is different. So just understand that it's not going to be the same, and go slowly again, manage your emotions and assess each situation as an individual situation. They're not all the same. Don't handle them all the same. They are different. R is for resources. So like I said here, if you have this much stress and you have this many resources, you can call upon resources to help you. And many of them are going to be listed in the description of this video to help you. And, let's just not even discount your friends and your family members and people in your neighborhood, community, your coworkers. People really do actually want to help. So don't be shy about asking people for help when you are struggling. And finally, the T is time for self-care. So self-care is very important for managing and preventing burnout, life burnout. Most people think about burnout in terms of work and the workplace, but it actually can happen with life. When life just is too much and you have, again, this much stress and these many resources, and life just gets to be too much. So please take some time for self-care. I have a resource for self-care that I'll put in the description, but essentially we're looking at your physical health, and then you want to look at your emotional health, your eating, your blood sugar, trying to keep your physical body in order. And then you want to also look at the ways that you're managing your relationships and how you're setting boundaries and what you're doing with your physical activity, being able to do pleasant things in your life. And all of that stuff has to do with self-care. So please do that. Please lower your stress levels and increase your fun, pleasure, and enjoyment in your life. And hopefully you'll get this sense of balance where you have a self-care plan. And I would always encourage people to write it down and do what you say that your intentions are. And your self-care plan can change as things in your life change, of course. So that was my SMART method of how I managed April of 2025. So I just gave you a bunch of skills and a bunch of information about Mental Health Awareness Month. I do appreciate all of you who have continued to subscribe to my channel and follow me on YouTube, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and all of the other podcasting sites. And I hope to see more of you in the future now that I'm over April and feeling a whole lot better about my life. And actually, one of the things that I really enjoy in my life is making videos. So I appreciate you, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Calming the Chaos podcast. If you found this podcast interesting or helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. You can also go to www.calmingthechaospodcast.com to listen to all Calming the Chaos podcast episodes. I look forward to sharing my next podcast episode with you. In the meantime, take care.